So our today's topic is going to be the sex determination. Sex determination means that how we can tell by looking at the karyogram of a person that whether that person is a male or a female, right? That is basically the 23rd pair of chromosome, right? Actually, you know that in humans we have got 23 chromosomes, and out of those 23 chromosomes, 22 chromosomes are autosomes, and the 23rd pair of chromosome is considered as the sex determining chromosome. Now, if we look at the genotype of an individual, right, karyogram of human beings, right, for every different organism, we can have different types of, different number of chromosomes, we can have different karyograms, right? And if you see the karyogram of of human beings, right, you will see that that will show you that how we can determine the sex of an individual by looking at the karyogram. And this image is going to tell you that whether this is a female or a male, right? If you see this image, right, this is the karyogram, and you can clearly see the number of chromosomes, and you can also see the pairs of chromosomes, right? There are 23 pairs, but actually the 22 pairs are the autosomes, and the 23rd pair is different in males and females. You can see that 22 looks similar to one another, and the 23rd chromosome is basically a chromosome that is the sex determining chromosome. That if, for example, an X is present means when both the chromosomes are same, that will be considered as a female. And if the 23rd chromosome is XY, then we'll say that it's a male chromosome, male karyogram, or you can say the sex of an individual would be a male, right? Or you can say that this karyogram is made by the chromosomes present in a cell that is taken from a male, right? So this 23rd chromosome is basically used to determine the sex of the individual, right? So a woman's sex chromosome is always XX, right? And a male, or you can say, you can say boy, or a man sex chromosome will be an X and Y, right? And if you go back to that karyogram, you will see that the X chromosome is bigger and the Y chromosome is smaller. Can you see that, right? Here, that the X chromosome is bigger and the Y chromosome is smaller. And that is because the chromosome X in this boy has come from the mother and the Y has come from the father. And the second reason would be that the X chromosome genes, alleles, partners are never present on Y chromosome. So that's why you can say that the Y chromosome is smaller. So it contains only those genes that are used for the development of the male's secondary sexual characteristics, or maybe the male reproductive organs or male hormones, or the characteristics that are different in females and males, right? So it will only have those genes because it's smaller. So it will have only those genes that are used to make the male reproductive organs, right? So the X chromosome is from the mother and Y chromosome from the father. So this X and Y chromosome, they have got some differences, like X chromosome genes are never present on the Y chromosome. Like suppose, have a look here. This is an XX and a XY in a male and female. This is the sex determining chromosome. And if you work out that how the sex of the next individual, or what is it that determines the sex of the next individual, that is the type of the sperm, because the male is a hemizygous individual. Why hemizygous? Because it can make two types of gametes, one carrying X chromosome and one carrying Y chromosome. And when these X and Y, they develop into sperms, right? So we can say that the males can produce two types of sperms, one that is carrying X and the other chromosome Y, right? So we can say that it is not the female eggs, because eggs will always carry X chromosome, no matter how many eggs a female produces throughout her life, right? She's going to produce all the eggs with the same chromosome, that is X chromosome. But the type of the sperm, for example, if an X carrying sperm fertilizes with the egg, it means that the baby girl is going to be produced. And if a Y carrying sperm is going to fertilize with the egg, it will produce a baby boy, or the male individual will be produced. So, this is basically the type of the sperm that is fertilizing with the egg that determines the sex of the next individual, right? And very interestingly, for example, when I said that the X chromosome, right, is bigger than the Y chromosome, right? So, for example, if there is a gene, let's suppose E, capital E, right? There is a gene that is present on X chromosome. Its partner allele, whether capital E or small e, would never be present on the Y chromosome, because I just told you that the Y chromosome is smaller and its partner alleles will never be present on the Y chromosome. And this basically a very interesting phenomena that basically will be described as sex linkage, right? Sex linkage means that there are some genes that are present on X chromosome and its partner alleles are never present on the Y chromosome. And these genes will be considered as sex-linked genes or X-linked genes. Why? Because their alleles are only present on X chromosome, right? So, for example, we are going to see now that what are the different types of diseases, what are the different types of characteristics or traits that are going to be inherited for this sex linked genes, right? So, and interestingly, sex linked genes is considered as more common in men as compared to the women. Why? Because its partner allele is never present on Y chromosome. So, to understand this phenomena, let us see some of the examples first, and then you will be able to understand. For example, I said that there are so many diseases. One of the disease that I'm going to, very common disease that you may have heard about, baldness, right? You may have seen that there are more men who are bald as compared to the female, and females are, you may have never seen a female with this characteristic, right? So baldness. The gene for baldness is present on X chromosome. Let's suppose this is an X chromosome, and the gene for baldness I'm using, this is expressed by a recessive allele, right? So for example, if there is a pair of chromosome in a female, she has a capital B and a capital B on X chromosome. This could be a chance, but this female will never be bald. She will be considered normal for hair development, right? And if there is another female who has got an XX chromosome, the 23rd pair of chromosome, and she has one X, one capital B, and the other one is the small b. Will she be bald? No, she will be the carrier, but phenotypically she'll be considered normal, right? So, phenotypically means physical expression will be phenotypically, she will be normal, but she will be considered as the carrier of the disease, right? And in another case, right, let's see a female who has an X and another X, and she has small b and small b. What do you think what she would be? She would be bald, right? So there are, out of three, there is 25% chance that the female could be bald, but she has more chances to be normal. But in a male, let's see. For example, in a male, there is an X chromosome and there is a Y chromosome, right? I told you, for example, if there is a gene that is present on X chromosome, its partner allele is never present on the Y chromosome. So this male would be normal for the hair development, right? And in another case, right, an X chromosome and a Y chromosome in a man, right? And if he has a small b here, right? Its partner allele will never be present on the Y chromosome. So there are 50% chances that the male would be normal for the hair development, or he would be bald, right? But in females, that's why it is said that it is more common in men as compared to the women, right? So we can say that in man, right, it is more common because 50% chances are there that the man would be normal for the color vision, and 50% chances are there for the man to be bald. And in females, there are 75% chances are there that the females would be normal, right? And 25% chances are only there for a female to be bald, right? So this is an example that is telling you that this is giving you some information about the sex linkage. Number one, that the sex X-linked genes partner allele are never present on Y chromosome. Number one. Number two, in X-linked genes is less common in females as compared to the males. Number three, when this, let's suppose, let's do some Punnett squares, so that let's do some crosses so that we can see that how this disease is going to be transmitted to the next generation, right? So, for example, if a man that he marries to a woman who is normal for the hair, right? And when they get married, they had a boy with baldness, right? Let's see how a couple when get married and can have a child with this disease, right? So let's have a look here. How is it possible for a couple, both of the couples are normal, but they partners are normal, but they have got a child with baldness, right? So a female, right, and a male, when they get married, right? So this female will always have an X chromosome, and this man can have only XY, right? For, let's suppose, baldness, this female has got a capital B and a small b, and this man, he is normal, so he must have a capital B on X chromosome, right? When she'll produce gametes, she will produce gametes of two types, that is X capital B and X small b, right? And this man, when will produce gametes by meiosis, you know that meiosis always produces gametes, right? He will also produce two types of gametes, one X with capital B and one sperm with Y with no allele on it, right? So when they will when there are chances for the eggs to get fertilized with the sperms, right? You know that they can have, we can make a Punnett square for that. Capital X, capital B, capital X, small b, and here capital X, capital B, and Y, right? When this gamete will fertilize with this, right, it will produce a capital B, a capital B, right? When this will fertilize with this, there are chances for them to fertilize randomly, right? And this will be producing this. Both are the girls and both are normal for color vision. Whereas when this Y will fertilize with the X, it will produce a capital B and Y. This will be a boy, right? And the boy will be normal, right? And here there will be another boy, but this boy will be bald, right? The father of this son was not bald. He was normal for the hair development, right? Whereas the female mother was also normal phenotypically, but this mother has got a recessive allele in her for baldness, and she has transmitted that recessive allele into her son, right? So such X-linked genes are never transferred from the from the affected father to the son. If this father would be affected, father will never transfer X to the sons. He will never contribute an X to the sons. Father will always contribute a Y to the sons, right? So this son is bald not because of the father. This son is bald because of the mother, because the mother had this recessive allele and she has contributed this X small b to her son, right? So this is one example. Another example I can give for thalassemia. Another example I can give for color blindness. That is also one of the sex-linked genes, right? So let's have a look on another example, right? For color blindness, they have used the same symbol, so don't get confused with it, right? Capital B, they have used for the normal color vision, and small b they have used for uh, uh, color blindness, right? And color blindness is also common in men. It's not common in women, right? So for a female to be colorblind, there should be this female is normal, this female is also normal, this female would be colorblind, and 75% chances are there for the female to be normal, and 25% chances are there that the female would be colorblind, right? Whereas in men, 50% chances are there that the man will be normal, and 50% chances are there for the man to be colorblind, right? So you see that these diseases that are X-linked diseases, they are more common in men as compared to the women, right? So let's have a look on the inheritance pattern of this disease, that is X-linked disease. Parental phenotype, you can see the man is normal, carrier women is there. In the same way, I have made the Punnett square in front of you. In the previous example with the baldness, they have used the same symbol, so it appears symbol. So females, when will produce the eggs, he will produce eggs with a capital B and a small b. And when the male will produce gametes, he will produce X with capital B and a Y. And there are 25% chances are there for the son to be colorblind. Whereas both the women, they will be girls or daughters, they will be normal for the color vision, and one normal boy or male will also be produced, right? Let me change the situation. Let's suppose that the father is colorblind. So he would have this genotype, and the mother is also carrier. Let's have a look. When they will reproduce with one another, when there is fertilization that will take place, this father will produce two types of gametes, that is X small b and Y carrying sperms. And this mother will produce an X with capital B and X with small b, right? And when they will fertilize their gametes, the random fertilization takes place. If I make a Punnett square in front of you, this is the uh, father's gametes, and these are the mother's gametes. Okay, now let's have a look. When this will fertilize with this, capital B and small b. So this woman is carrier, right? This female or this daughter is carrier. This is capital B and Y. This son is going to be normal for the color vision. And if this gamete will fertilize with this, small b and small